Located at the back of Alton Towers is a land that has often been forgotten, with abandoned areas and closed attractions that go back years. While once the original fairground that inspired the park to turn into a full amusement park, this troubled area has had to close rides due to noise levels, re-themed multiple times, and has never quite found its true identity. Talbot Street, Cred Street, Cuckoo Land, whichever name you know it as, this area was once home to the short-lived, terrible Nickelodeon Outta Control, and also billed as the home of Barney the Dinosaur. My name is Sam, and welcome back to Expedition Alton Towers. This is kind of a weird one.
That's not Barney's head! That's not Barney's head! That's Barney's head!
Yeah!
Alton Towers began its amusement park history as a selection of fairground rides operated by independent showmen, and featured rides which came and went over the seasons. There was one permanent attraction that was installed that was known as the Fun House. When John Broome wanted to turn the park into a single entry-priced full amusement park, they installed the corkscrew near the old fairground area next to the towers. As the fairground left, the area was re-envisioned as Talbot Street in 1981.
The recreated Victorian thoroughfare hides other surprises behind its attractive facades. The superb dolls exhibition is the finest collection of antique dolls and toys in the country, beautifully displayed and easy to see.
Talbot Street was mostly built between the Fun House, which was transformed into a theatre, and the Penny Arcade.
There are also two special effects cinemas and the Alton Theatre in Talbot Street. That houses Alton's highly original fountain show, where light and colour synchronize with music in a delicate water ballet.
This brand new land had a Victorian era feel. Throughout the next 10 years, many changes came to the area, including the addition of the four-man Bob, Alton Beast, and the Alton Mouse, gaining the area the nickname of Coaster Corner.
The new £1 million ride may be called the Mouse, but its high-speed, 180-degree turns are not as timorous. It's the kind of roller coaster which even the enthusiast would think twice about going round again.
The final season of Talbot Street was 1992, with a cut-down lineup. Coaster Corner had been abandoned, and the coasters were removed because local residents were complaining about the noise. Multiple rides were closed at the end of the season as a new theme was coming.
In 1993, the Land of Make-Believe became a delightful #1 hit with younger visitors.
In 1993, guests could enter the Land of Make-Believe, a brightly coloured street which was home to park characters, a carousel, mini apple coaster, and other repurposed stores and attractions from the former land. One side of the street was transformed into Children's World, an indoor play area, as well as the Magic Theatre replacing the Fantastic Fountain show. While popular at opening, it didn't last long, and with it came another re-theme, this time becoming known as Cred Street. Along with Ripsaw being added to the park, Cred Street opened in 1997 with a brand new show, the Children's Fun Factory, along with the area's brand new signature attraction, Nickelodeon Outta Control.
What in the world is Nickelodeon? The new channel for kids. Coming to Sky, the 1st of September.
The cable and satellite TV channel for kids would now be branching out of control at Alton Towers, asking if you had street cred. Yeah, it was definitely the 90s. Originally planned to open in 1996 and conceived as the Nickelodeon Mind Maze, it was later delayed due to technical issues and opened on the 15th of June 1997. The new name, Nickelodeon Outta Control, was inspired by the sketch TV series Out of Control. When it did eventually open, the attraction launched with sister cast Tia and Tamara and multiple Nickelodeon presenters in attendance. Inspired by some of the put yourself in the experience attractions from elsewhere, this would be an interactive television adventure that would allow children to be the stars. In the building that used to be home to the former doll museum, the experience offered 2 levels of fun. The cafe next door would also be turned into the Slurp and Burp Cafe. Nickelodeon would spend nearly £1 million creating the attraction. Alton Towers even hired team members who would be trained by Nickelodeon's top casting team from the USA. The attraction itself would be a twist on a classic funhouse. Before waiting to enter, guests would watch intros and clips from popular TV shows on the channel, such as Rocko's Modern Life and my personal favourite, Kenan and Kel.
I dropped the screw in the tuna.
Upon entering, 20 guests would be led around the funhouse. The first room, a guide would introduce the experience in the debrief room, before the group were let loose into the funhouse section filled with interactive elements. Rooms featuring sound effects with buttons to press and pull, games to play, winding corridors, and rope bridges. The guides for the attraction would encourage participants to cheer and react to the different areas. After the funhouse section, guests will be played back recordings of them mixed into a Nick TV style show, which turned out was mostly them looking bewildered as they were filmed unaware during their experience, before being let out into the off-the-shelf gift shop which sold Nickelodeon merchandise. The attraction was very poorly received, with low capacity and guests often waiting way over an hour to go through and then becoming mostly baffled and confused rather than entertained. A weird mix between a funhouse, a show, a walkthrough attraction, and an extended commercial for the TV channel. It did not last long. At the end of 1998, the same year which Oblivion had opened, park attendance had increased, but the Nickelodeon attraction closed. The combination of its low throughput, dissatisfied guests, and high running costs put an end to the, I guess, unfun house. The $1 million attraction was a huge failure, and Cred Street certainly didn't have any cred. I mean, I started with the 90s corny jokes, I may as well continue. With its closure, Cred Street lost its signature attraction, and the area felt empty as if it was left abandoned. Halfway through the 1999 season, a frog hopper was added in front of the old building. For the first time in a long time, a familiar fairground-style attraction found its home in the area. While Nickelodeon Out of Control was clearly influenced from some of the Put Yourself in the Movies attractions from Universal Studios, in the year 2000, it would be another American TV series, also featured at Universal Studios, that would move into Cred Street and change the focus for the next few years, finally giving the area some purpose again.
Please get ready for an airplane trip to Imagination City!
Barney the Dinosaur would find a permanent new home at a theme park in the middle of England, and he was bringing a new stage show to the Cred Street Theatre. The theatre was the location of the original Funhouse and previous Fantastic Fountains Theatre, which had sat empty since the magic show closed when the area was rethemed to Cred Street. 3 times a day, Barney and his friends Baby Bop and BJ performed a live show at the now named Barney Theatre.
Hello, everybody! How are you today? Oh, great! I'm doing super duper.
The sing-along had Barney and friends perform classic show songs to the audience and was extremely popular with children. The show itself was very similar to the one over at Universal Studios, called A Day in the Park with Barney, that had opened at Universal Studios Florida in 1995, on the former site of the Bates Motel. The Alton Towers version had more songs than its Universal counterpart. Some of these included
Welcome to my treehouse. I'll pretend and you can be us. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. All the raindrops were lollipops and gumdrops. Oh, what a rain that would be! I love you, you love me. We're a happy family with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
You Are Definitely Welcome. Now these can also be in your head all day. Opposite the theatre, the previous Children's World became Barney's Playground. Barney would stick around until 2003 when he was replaced with the Tweenies.
The Tweenies are on stage at Alton Towers with live shows every day. Hands up if you want to come and play. The Tweenies, now at Alton Towers.
Who would also get a live show and a playground retheme until they would also depart in 2005. Over the next few years, many attractions would come and go to the area, but Cred Street would always feel slightly forgotten about at the back of the park. Even Bob the Builder found a home in the theatre for a short time. The Cred Street theme was starting to look extremely run down. For the 2009 season, it was finally refurbished into Cloud Cuckoo Land, a land where imagination ruled. The playground became Wobble World, closing in 2015, though it opened and closed many times over its time at the park. The building was gutted to become House of Monsters for Scarefest. The theatre was later refurbished in 2012 to become a 4D theatre showing Ice Age 4D, which would also eventually close in 2017, and the theatre would be left abandoned, just like the Nickelodeon Outta Control building, which sat abandoned nearby. Remnants of the building's interior have been photographed over the years, and the exterior continued to have elements of the old theming on show to this very day. The funhouse element of the old attraction sat standing but not operating for many years. Eventually, in October 2019, Alton Towers announced that the World of David Walliams will be opening in 2020, taking over as another re-theme for Cloud Cuckoo Land. This time with an actual attraction, Gangster Granny The Ride.
The story of Gangster Granny is about a boy called Ben who thinks his granny is boring until one day he finds out she is an international jewel thief. And together they go on an adventure to steal the crown jewels,
which invites guests to join Ben and his granny as they visit the Tower of London to pull off the heist of the century. This new attraction will be located in the former playground area. It may not be the biggest attraction added to the park, but it's great to have something at least. Other additions will be a makeover to the Royal Carousel and the Frog Hopper. 21 years after it was added, it will become Raj's Bouncy Bottom Burp. As for the theatre that previously housed Barney and the Nickelodeon Outta Control building, well, nothing yet has been announced for the space. If nothing comes in this space when the new land opens up, hopefully this land is the success that opens up the possibility of finally adding an expansion into some of these areas that have sat empty for years. Nickelodeon will return to a UK amusement park in 2011 with Nickelodeon Land at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Replacing the Beaver Creek area of the park, the re-theme land was much more successful than the attempt at Alton Towers. It involved re-theming the classic Blackpool roller coaster, which had opened in 1933, that had originally reused sections of the Velvet coaster, which had operated from 1909 to 1932. It was painted bright orange and is now known as the Nickelodeon Street.
I'm thrilled that Gangster Granny is becoming a ride at Alton Towers. I never believed that would happen. I was just really overwhelmed to be asked, and I can't wait to experience it for myself.
The location of the David Walliams world is full of history and has had many changes over the years. It has been a long time since the area felt like a fully fledged land. Starting off as a classic fun fair, turning into a Victorian England themed area, before becoming the short-lived home of some American TV shows. It is now once again being re-themed into the distinctly British World of David Walliams, which will hopefully revitalize an area of the park which has had many troubles over the years. If you are familiar with Alton Towers at all, you may realize I have failed to mention one area of this land. In fact, one area of this land that spans as far back as Talbot Street, that has been with us in multiple different forms since 1981. An area that took guests around the world in 80 days, through a tour of a toy factory, and later into a great glass elevator, before today taking you into the depths of a dungeon. That story, though, is for another Expedition Alton Towers.
Alton Towers is special because it cares. It's beautiful, wholesome, safe, and above all, hugely enjoyable. It has a talent to amuse at the right price, combining the traditions of the past with the most exciting technology of the present to lead Britain's leisure industry into the future. Alton Towers.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Expedition Alton Towers. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to join the expedition. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram for updates on upcoming episodes, and take a look at expeditionthemepark.com for further in-depth posts from theme parks around the world. Where would you like to go on the next expedition? Let me know in the comments below. A special thank you to our Patreons for supporting the channel. They really do help make these episodes possible. Take a look if you would like to get exclusive live streams, scripts, and early video releases. We will see you next time.
Alton Towers, Alton Towers.
funhouse and the giant cuddly bears, the circus with its special atmosphere.
There's parrots and the sea lions splashing in the open air, with shops to find the perfect souvenir.